Maybe your question is, how do you let go of the fear of trying to control the small thing? I had a beautiful experience this Hajj. One of the things that I can't control is, or kind of like, sorry, I don't know how to deal with it, is when someone complains, especially in Hajj. So if someone complains, it just like takes me off, and I'll just avoid the person completely. Like I'll give them a cold shoulder and just walk away from them, because I don't know how to deal with it. Like and I experience what other people experience in other ways. I know how to deal with other things, right? But that specific instance, when I tell people you got to be patient in Hajj, the one thing I can't be patient for in Hajj is someone complaining. And then I'm like, you know what? It's Hajj. Allah brought you here, and you're still complaining, right? So I did this to a sister this Hajj. Basically, you know, she came in. She was very angry, and she blasted at me. That had nothing to do with any, you know, nothing that had to do with this. But basically, I gave her the cold shoulder. And I said, you know, talk to so-and-so. And I walked away from her. Not the best move, right? Because I didn't know how to deal with it. So this sister, I think then I was giving like a lecture, and the whole lecture she was like, backbiting on me, like that, and telling people how arrogant I was and how stuck up I was and stuff like that. And she went and told everyone, you know what? And then she sat me down afterwards. She sat me down. She didn't leave. And I'm telling you, she had courage. She's very strong. She sat me down and she gave me a lecture. But it was so awesome. And then I told her, what should I have told you? What do you know? And then she told me something that was so profound, again, similar to that, you know, that other sister that told me I need to speak up. This sister told me that you should have said, this is the exact statement. Sister, I understand your concern, but your reaction will not give you the Hajj that you were hoping to get, or something like that, right? That this way of acting is not gonna make you go home with the Hajj that you wanted to have. And so I said, you know, I wrote it down, and then later during Hajj, like someone started like complaining, and I said, brother, what you're saying is correct, but here in Hajj, he was in Arafah complaining, and he was a really good brother, and I said, here in Arafah, what you're talking about is something you can talk about after you go home, but talking like this during Hajj is not going to give you the Hajj that you want to experience. And then he nodded his head, and he's like, thank you, Ahmed. And I was like, yes, it worked, right? Because normally I would have given that guy the cold shoulder. He's complaining, and he was my friend up until then, but as soon as he complained, cold shoulder, see you later, you're not my friend anymore. But I didn't, because I had this new strategy, okay? So the reason that I'm saying this is that you probably, maybe it might be something else, but you don't have a strategy on how to deal with big things. So instead of dealing with them, you give it the cold shoulder. And you try to avoid it and block it all the time. Instead, if you just learn some new strategies, as I said, once the strategies kick in, it pancakes your time, and you're not afraid of those things because you can deal with them. Obviously, there are going to be other fears that are like going to come up, but you know that's some stuff. Let's suppose someone wants to learn how to use the computer, right? Back in the day when computers are still there. A family member who's been working on the computer for 1 week can give advice to someone who's just like touching the computer for the first time. Meaning, this is how you press start, this is the mouse, this is the keyboard. That's at the very simplest of guidance. Meaning, as they say, like a one-eyed man amongst the blind is king. So what you're talking about is you've been getting certified for 1 year now. Is that the case?
Yeah, the process was it took about half a year now.
Okay, so half a year or a year, and all that time you still don't think that you know more than the people that are coming to the class?
Yeah, technically I do.
And even if you, and the thing is, even if you're not like perfect when you start, like starting the class you have what they call early adopters. People who will come to a class even though you don't have any testimonials or prior experience, just people kind of trust you. Those people that come in the beginning are usually people who always try things in the beginning, right? So they'll forgive you. If anything, like, oh, a little bit disorganized or a little bit this and that, they'll forget that's the people they are. The people that come after everybody's already proven that it's like really good and they heard the testimonials, they might be a little bit, insistent it needs to be like this and that, but that's like 1 year, 2 years down the road. So you like just get it started. It's not going to be, just like your daughter, she obviously has to crawl first before she walks before she runs, and yet you want to run from the very beginning you start your class. But instead you want to, just get your class started crawling, and then, quickly move to walking, quickly move to running. Then you get it started. Would you like to take some action?
Yeah.
What kind of action would you like to take that would move this forward right now?
Start it up?
Yes, right now. What would you need to do?
I have to do some research on number one.
I said action. How about this? Would you be able to send a bulk email to a couple of your friends telling them when your first class date is going to be?
Yeah, I could, but I have to have the program ready, I guess, in terms of cost.
No problem. If you put,
Facilities or-
you can put, location to be announced. You can choose the price. Do you have the price already set?
No, that's something I have to do.
Okay, so the price, pick a price. What's the price you're going to charge?
I don't want to say now, but I don't want to say it then.
And then all these
Some
sisters
of
are
them
going to say,
register
no, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Okay, so let's say early adopter, like price, like a special price for early adopters.
I'm just picking a number to say for like a 3-month program, let's say 40 a month or something.
Okay.
So let's say the whole thing was 120. I don't know.
Well, what are you going to be teaching?
It's like aerobics.
Aerobics?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say just like some like from pricing strategies, you're going to charge 40 a month. How many times a week are they going to come?
I would probably start off with once a week and then build up to 2.
Okay, it's been my experience from like sister prices that sometimes if you keep it kind of like lower, especially in the beginning. So maybe if you said $20 a month, the early adopter fee, and then once you kick it off, how about if it's going to be $20 a month, then try making it say $50 for 3 months, something like that, or they can pay in installments, 20, 20, 20. All right. So let's just say that that's the price. 20 times 3, if they pay monthly, or it's going to be like 50 for the 50 for 3 months. 3 months, once a week. Does this scare you, the idea of actually asking people for money?
People I know.
It does scare you?
I mean, not that I don't get terrified.
I know you guys, I charge you all the time.
I guess I feel a little awkward.
Okay, so it's like, it's awkward.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So $50 for 3 months, once a week, and the location. Okay, do you have a location?
Not anything booked, but I know some places that I would.
Location, so give them the options, like, so it's, for example, you'd say, either, because location is important to people, because if it's far, then they might not be able
Yeah,
to
like I
decide.
would do like an East End, West End type,
Like 2 classes, 2
Yeah.
different classes?
Yeah.
Either A or B. So you tell them that I'm going to do it in either this location or that location, and then the date when you're going to start. The date is fine. You can do it 1 month from now, but the email is going out today. But the date you can do it, like say, oh, it's going to start, whatever, March 1st. It's too far. March 15th? Okay. March 15th, and do you have a PayPal account? No? Okay, so if it would be good if you did have a PayPal account. The reason I said that is because you can immediately, after you just told them, and here's the link to pay for the class, right? So people who had PayPal, they could just immediately pay for it right then and there, and then you get sales. If you delay payment, then you might lose sales from that. So but trying to sell in an email might not be the best thing. But so if you let them know, then you could say, what's the action that they need to do? Email me because I feel awkward. I feel awkward. I need some support. I'm serious about that. If you told your friends that, what would they do? What would they do? Some sisters don't tell me. She said that, yes? They'll support her. And they'll tell her, no, we're so happy you started this class and don't feel awkward. I'll be the first register. So this is being human. Right? Because everybody feels this. Everybody feels awkwardness, and I apologize, I feel awkward doing this, but I wanted to start something, and they'll be happy for you. So many times I've seen sisters that'll they'll start something, and other sisters see it, and they're happy for them that they're doing it, right? Even though the sisters doing it might feel awkward about it, the others are like, oh, you're doing a bake sale, that's awesome, we're happy for you that you're doing it. Okay, so the bulk mail, when I'm saying bulk mail, if you, it would be best if you sent everybody an individual email. So like you said, had, say, 10, 20 people on your email, and each email said, Assalamu alaikum, Fatima, Assalamu alaikum, Zainab, Assalamu alaikum, Aisha, and then you just emailed everybody directly, and your emails weren't too long, just saying, what, I apologize if you're a little awkward and whatnot, but I'm starting a fitness class for sisters, and I was wondering if you would be interested in supporting me in making this a successful project. And then you told them, what, this is where the location's going to be, this is what I'm going to be teaching in the class, and this is how much it costs for 3 months, but if you'd like to pay monthly, it's like $20 per month. If you're and I'm going to start on March 15th. If you're interested in signing up for this, please reply as soon as you get a chance. And then that's it. Out of 10 people that you email, probably there will be some who just don't respond, or they haven't checked their email or whatnot. Don't freak out on that. But you just you're gonna get people that are gonna just sign up for it. And if they don't, who cares? You got over your thing. But this email needs to go out today, ideally right now. Somebody have internet access? Do you have internet access with you right now on your BlackBerry? Do you have a laptop with you? With internet access though?
Yeah, I have access, but I need some Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Is there free access in here?
Yeah, it's very slow.
It's slow though?
But it's okay for emails. Should be okay for me.
Okay, I also wanted to show you guys that what you just experienced was life coaching. What we call life coaching. It's totally different from the sister starting off saying, I have a dream, to all of this. This is when I said that you take your dream and you make it a reality. That's what how many people have experienced life coaching? Actually had a life coach? For myself, I've, probably for the last 5 years I've had a life coach. And things that you see on the Maghrib Institute are things that I do. Basically, I break them down with my coach like this. So I'm sharing with you how I would move to action, right? And so when I keep asking her to do the action, this is the most important part. This other stuff is just kind of give her a little confidence to actually do it. But what will make the difference, what will make this a reality, is this email going out. That's what makes it the difference. Other than that, it just looks nice. I can rip this off and you can keep it as a token. It'll change your life in no way. It's the action that makes the difference. When are you going to send out that email? How about at the next break? And how about this? I'll make it a little easier for you. Send it to 2 of your friends only, or 2 people. Because once you've locked it in, then inshallah ta'ala, later in the day you can start sending it to other people. But just send it out personally, just 2 people. Questions about that? Yes?
How could Destiny reach as much sisters as possible?
How can she reach as much as
Not necessarily she has like a mailing list, but how could she really like reach out to more people? Like maybe visit her friends and friends of her friends and just to create a larger pool.
Okay, you're talking more like a sales question type of thing, like how does someone get the message out to people? There's different avenues. One of the most important things is to build up your contact list, right? If like you come on Discovery Life, you'll see something that I always say is the autoresponders and the emails and stuff like that. I told her to send these out manually, probably because she doesn't have a software like that. But if she did have a software like that, that would automate this. So she could basically plug in everybody's name and their email, and then the software just sends out to everybody one shot, right? So it's Assalamu alaikum, this Assalamu alaikum. And on the email, she'd be like Assalamu alaikum, and then special brackets it says first name, and then you start sending out. Another way to build up a mailing list is to do like say a free event. So if, for example, she did like a lecture and she said, the importance of fitness for Muslim women, and she did an event like that, say at the masjid or someplace, and at the end of the lecture, she told everybody, I have a free nutrition booklet that I want to share with you, and I have a free the booklet that I want to share with you, and in order to get this, please sign, type in your email address. So everybody that's there, they're going to get this free nutrition booklet, and now they've been added to the mailing list. Another way to do this is once she gives the free nutrition booklet, this is kind of like getting technical, but just so you know, that something that I would do, say on the Heartwheel Journal, if you're familiar with the Heartwheel Journal, I gave that out for free, but they go to a website, and then after they put in their information, they've submitted, then it'll say, would you like to share this with 3 of your friends? And so someone will say, no, I don't want to share it with anybody, I just want to be the only one. Or someone else will say, yes, and people love like free stuff, especially like really high quality free stuff. And then they'll share it with 3 friends, and then the mailing list, then those 3 friends come back, and the same question is asked of them. Would you like to share with 3 friends? So that whole thing of, and they told 3 friends, and they told 3 friends, and then it just goes like that. And it starts going up. So doing events, and so on. And obviously when the people do come, and she really takes care, the early adopters, the people that come to the first session, they're the people, if you see on a chart, they'll say that like a product cycle is like this, that in the beginning there's just a few people buying and then it goes up, but then there's like this critical mass that happens there, and then people start, it declines afterwards, and people aren't really concerned about it afterwards. This, even though everybody's like looking how to get this is the most important, because if you take care of the early adopters, they're the ones who are going to create the critical mass afterwards. So if her early adopters, they came and they're paying, for example, like $20 a month for these aerobics classes, and then she did something like extra special for them. She'd say, for example, all the sisters that come, we're having like a henna party, after the aerobics class. And everybody gets like free henna. Normally it's like $20 a hand, but you know what, you're just gonna get a free henna design. And then everybody, like they went to the aerobics class, and now they had like a party, which is something extra. Now, as one author calls it like a purple cow. Like you see a purple cow, you're like, wow, that's amazing. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see the purple cow? Right? So now people are talking about this aerobics class that they had like a henna party afterwards. And so these people start talking, other people want to get involved. Some people, they like to be employees. I've been talking about employees, and sometimes you get this feeling that, employees suck, let's all be business owners. And what you just described is that that's not you, right? And some people, they just actually like to do the work, because once you start turning it into a business, you're not a fitness instructor anymore. You're a manager. In fact, you might even have other fitness instructors, and you'll never get to be the teacher anymore. It'll just come to an end, you'll be the manager aspect. If you don't like that part, then stay as an employee and partner with someone else like a proper partnership where they're responsible for the business aspect and you're responsible for your.
Alhamdulillah, I managed to let go people do this stuff because I don't know how to do it anyway. But I still feel that if I don't myself get people to start working on, like, I always have an issue of believing that maybe there's a motivational gap because you cannot have everybody the same motivation. But and then hence I want to always set up the meetings and then I let people talk. But I'm wondering now if I even should let them set up their own meetings and just check with them to see that they have set up the meeting and they have made the action plans. Because I feel like if I keep setting up the meetings to everybody, they're gonna just expect me to do it and not set up their own meetings when they need to.
So your question is?
My question is, like, I don't know which approach to do.
Okay, so basically, like, it's a type of question. If you're doing all this work and you're afraid if you don't do it, then it won't get done. I can almost guarantee you that if you didn't do it, it wouldn't get done. Just by that attitude of always like hammering on it, right? Because the people have come to expect it. So they'll say, for example, if you're the one who's organizing the meeting, and then all of a sudden you just stop talking, to them, there's no meeting that's going to happen this week. Or if there was a meeting, then and half of the people miss the next meeting, nobody shows up, right? So what you might want to do is, if you put someone in charge of, like, let's say, who would like to organize a meeting for the upcoming week or something like that, you put them in charge. After you've put them in charge, then you come back and if the next meeting doesn't work out, just keep quiet, wait till the meeting, crashes, as I said, or, chaos, or whether it turns out good, and then have a, what can we improve meeting afterwards with that person who's responsible alone. Okay, so, let's say this guy Abdullah was the one responsible to, in charge to organize the meeting, then you would, the meeting didn't go so well, or some people missed, then you have to choose the right person to do it too. You can't get someone who, they're a duck, and you're telling them to do the work of an eagle, right? They're just a duck. And so that would be your mistake to get that person. So I found that sometimes when people ask for, volunteers, they just whoever volunteers, okay, come on, let's do it. And they don't really put any effort into actually finding, and as they, in sports, it's called scouting, right? It's not like, oh, who would like to play on my hockey team or, basketball team? People are like, I'd like to play. Okay, come on, you can play. Who does that? But yet we do that in our Islamic organizations, right? Anybody who volunteers, there's no test. It's just come on, you're a human being with arms and legs, you do something. And that's about, as profound as the job description goes. Even I've seen this, in the Middle East, that they hire people based on resume. They look at the resume, oh, you got a PhD? Okay, you're good. And then once you get there, we'll deal with it afterwards. We'll shout at you, we'll, make your life hell and stuff like that. But just from the perspective of, they just base it on the resume. So again, you've chosen the right workers. If they're the right people, maybe one person is good at working, one person is good at motivating. Jobs that are dealing with motivation, get the motivation guy. Jobs that deal with working, get the worker guy, and so on and so forth. And then once you give them a task, don't ever pull it away from them. If you've ever, it's kind of like someone told you to do something and you do half of it and they say, oh, don't worry, it's already been done. When the next time you tell me to do something, or if you're going to do this halfway, then I'm not even going to start because you just wasted my time, right? So you can't you can't take tasks away from people after they've done it. So you've got to give them a task and back off. And let them, whatever happens, let them, live their destiny.